Getting a bit of a late start today, looking at this clock tower here in Palmyra, Pennsylvania. This place has special meaning to me, and I'll tell you why coming up. Welcome everyone. Zach from The Incredible Impression here. Currently walking along the street here in Palmyra, Pennsylvania. It sure is strange for me to be here. This area is where I grew up. These are my old stomping grounds before I moved to Florida. I spent a lot of time here from when I was just adopted at 9 months old up until 2013 when I moved down to Florida. Here's Jesse, and you can see my Adam the Woo stickers here, and of course the Incredible Impression logo. So I'm inviting you to go with me on this journey as we document my old stomping grounds. Let's go. This area over here is right next to the square and the clock tower. This is Roma Pizza. This is where I used to order pizza from. As a matter of fact, my wife, this is her favorite pizza place here in town. My favorite pizza joint is right up the road at a place called Bartolo's, which I'll be going to later on. Uh-oh. Classic car alert. Look at that old-fashioned police car. And if you look at it, it says Hazard County. So I'm guessing this is a reference to the Dukes of Hazzard. Pretty neat. Classic car alert right there. I'm now on the corner of South Duke Street and I think it's East Walnut. Yes, East Walnut. And this house here has a very, very special meaning to me. This is where my grandparents lived. Baba and Papu, I called them, because Baba was from Ukraine, and of course in Russian, babushka is what grandma means. And my grandfather, Papu, was just the name that I gave him. But that there is the old patio where they'd sit and watch TV and spent most of their time. When I would come here, I would pull up right there. I'd walk up those 2 steps up to the back porch and go inside for a visit. My grandmother passed away in 2010, and my grandfather passed away in 2007. And that's the shed, actually, that we bought for them way back when. And there used to be a bench that my grandfather constructed right there. Jeez, getting a little teary-eyed here, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. This place has very special meaning in my life. And directly across the street is the Forge Road Elementary School. That is where I attended elementary school from kindergarten to 5th grade. And I would walk across that field, that big baseball field. I would walk across the field every day after school to Baba and Papu's house, where my dad would come and pick me up to take me home, or I'd wait for my mother to come pick me up and take me home. But this is it. My, how times have changed. I can still picture myself in the yard there, playing with my cousins and Baba and her little dog Charney. And right here used to be a lot of shrubs and bushes, and back there was my grandmother's garden. She used to grow cucumbers, tomatoes, peppers, anything you could think of, onions, and she made her own homemade spaghetti sauce out of that. And over here where all this stuff is, that used to be heavily covered in shrubs and bushes, but the new residents have since removed it all. Pulled around to the front of the house now, and that room right there was my grandfather's computer room. Also belonged to my mom when she was growing up. And back here was my grandparents' bedroom. This light pole here is still the same light pole from all those years ago. And that Uncle Sam flag piece there, that's what my grandfather put up there. I can't believe they actually left that. And my house that I grew up in was a very, very short distance from here. So I'm going to show you guys how far, just how close it was to my grandparents' house. This is it. 840 South King Street. This is the house that I grew up in. And my bedroom was right there. As a matter of fact, they still have the child find sticker for the fire department. My dad installed that, stuck it to the window when I was adopted. Wow, they actually kept that. And this is the same light post that we had, and the same 840 numbering sign. And the dog sticker that's in the window there, my dad put that there as well for our old dog Mindy. That is also the front door that I chose for us to get replaced when we needed it fixed and replaced. And the lion knocker, I don't know if that was there before they moved in, my parents, or if my dad put it in there. But this is my childhood home. Now over here was my father's computer room, and over here was my music room, I guess you could call it. It was actually supposed to be another bedroom, but we converted it into more of a gaming computer room. My Uncle Bob installed some of those nice, like closet style doors on both sides that we could just open and go inside. Now in an area called Old Stone Way here in North Londonderry Township, generally designated as Annville, Pennsylvania, but still within the vicinity of Palmyra. And the reason I bring this development into the subject is because right back there, behind those trees, you can barely see it right there, is where I lived prior to moving to Florida. This is the house, 102 Auburn Drive. My bedroom was actually right above the garage. That's the old house. Had a lot of good times in this house. Once again, it's kind of emotional for me to be here after all these years. But this is the house I left to move down to Florida. I almost forgot completely about this place. Before we moved into Auburn Drive, we actually moved in here in Old Stoneway. This is 157 Lexington Drive. And once again, my bedroom was directly above the garage. I guess usually they use it as a storage room or a bonus room, but for me, it was my bedroom. We only lived in this house for maybe a year and a half or so before water started leaking and we had to move into Auburn. Stopped off here for dinner at one of my favorite haunts, Bartolo's Pizza. It's been a long time since I've been here. So, was able to catch up with the owners and see how they were doing. A lot has changed. I have chosen the mozzarella sticks and my favorite dish, sketty and meatballs. And the steam is still coming off of it. And my little trademark, I always ask for a side of mozzarella cheese. Not because I like to sprinkle it over or anything, but because I just like to eat it. And of course, got a Coke here. So guys, also, keeping with the theme of Palmyra, Pennsylvania, again, I grew up in this area. This was the area I stomped around all the time. A lot of these places I showed you are still very familiar to me, although a lot has changed since then. But there is one topic I want to bring up, which I think you will all enjoy. Back in 2001, a very, very awesome event occurred here in town. So I'm going to take you over to the square and talk about it. Let's go. In 2001, I was in 7th grade over at the middle school, and we got word that Hollywood was coming to film a movie here. The movie starred John Travolta and Lisa Kudrow. The movie was called Lucky Numbers, and the opening sequence where John Travolta is driving along the road happened right here. You can see those steps. If you look in the scene in the background, you'll notice those steps there as he's talking to those girls that are pulling up next to him. Then if you turn around here, you see this exterior where he parks at the red light, and right here there was a bait machine right here, and there was a sign over here that had a sign of a little doggy. This is still the pet shop, the Little Paul's Pet Shop, but this here was used as the main drag for Lucky Numbers. As a matter of fact, if you watch him drive off, then if you take the camera, now obviously they used a crane for this, but if you take the camera up to about there was a bus stop right about here that had his picture on it. And he would have pulled out that way. Interesting little fact about this town. Lucky Numbers with John Travolta, Lisa Kudrow, also Ed O'Neill for Married with Children was in it. And I believe Jimmy Fallon might have even had a cameo in there. I'm not exactly sure. I'd have to double check on that. I'm actually here at that big mansion that was used in the movie. This huge red brick place. I went up and knocked on the door because I didn't want to just come on the property and you know, look around and be taking pictures out of nowhere. But I went up to the Ring camera and I rang the bell. Nobody was there. So I'm just going to take a quick gander here at the home. This is where John Travolta was evicted from, was foreclosed. You can see a shot of the movers moving him out. And he had like a mini golf course back in the back. But I've passed this place many times. I mean, it was right here in my homeland. So I'm gonna get out of here before somebody decides to call the police or something, because I definitely don't want to make it look like I'm trespassing. This is the North Side Elementary School, right down the hill from where the mansion is. And there was one small scene that was filmed right inside there. And that's the scene where John Travolta is singing along with the elementary school kids. This is not the elementary school that I went to, obviously, but it's one of 3 elementary schools in Palmyra. There's one more place in Palmyra itself that was crucial to the film, which I'll show you next. Now I'm gonna do a real quick turn here, because right about where Jesse is was the Bulletin Sign, was the big billboard that had John Travolta's picture on it. So I'll do it again. You come around right here, showed it about right there. Pretty cool, huh? We're now coming up towards the Hollywood Casino at Penn National Racecourse. This is the place where back in the day, John Travolta and I came face to face. Now, for obvious reasons with laws and gambling and stuff, I cannot film inside the casino, but this is where the man, the myth, the legend himself and I first met. My window is getting fogged up. Here we go. Going in to the entrance. That's going to do it for today, guys. Thanks so much for joining me again. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Also, find me on Facebook at Zach Arnold, or on Instagram at FabZachForever. And tomorrow we got another great adventure coming up, so stay tuned. But as for right now, vlog over.